Hello, I'm Allison Osved. I'm a current APPIC board member and member of the APPIC Postdoctoral Work Group. I'm here to share with you information about applying for postdoctoral training positions. The process can feel overwhelming, confusing, and fragmented, especially in comparison to the internship application process. APPIC and the APPIC board would like to support and empower you with information, and that's what we're here to talk about today. In this video, we're going to be providing you with tips for a successful postdoctoral application process. We'd like to set you up to secure the perfect postdoctoral position for you. So let's get started. It is common to have a number of questions and concerns about the postdoctoral application process. One common question is how best to approach the actual process. So what we have for you are a few tips that will likely set you up for success and reduce your stress during the process. The first tip is start early. Another important thing to do is identify letter writers from your internship program who can write strong letters for you. And if you haven't picked up on this already, another tip is to utilize the new UPPD to search for programs. One question people have is, how many programs should I apply to? Determining how many programs you want to apply to is pretty tricky. This is a difficult decision, and it's very much a personal decision. I will say that most people apply for fewer programs at the postdoctoral level compared to the internship level. It's a good idea to apply to a range of programs in terms of competitiveness, from lower tier, mid-tier, to top tier programs. However, it is never a good idea to apply to a program that you have no intention of attending should you receive an offer for them. So don't ever go that low. At the postdoctoral training level, many people begin to think not only about their training goals, but also their life goals. And this is an important consideration when you start thinking about how many programs do I want to apply to. People at the postdoctoral level may begin to limit the number of programs they apply to, for example, certain geographic regions where they want to live longer term. Or they may limit the number of programs that they apply to programs or institutions where they would like to work longer term, knowing that many people are hired on after their postdoc into the facility or the program where their postdoc occurred. Another way that people limit their postdoc program applications is to the type of program that will set them up for specialty certification or boarding in a specialty practice area of their liking. So those are all things you may want to keep in mind. In other words, where you want to live, perhaps how much money you want to make, as well as what you would like to do in your career. That can limit the number of programs you apply to because there are only a certain number of programs in those areas. One thing that's important when preparing to apply for postdoctoral positions is that you get organized, and you get organized early. However you do that will be personal to you. I personally am a spreadsheet person, so I would recommend making a spreadsheet. However you decide to organize for yourself, important details that you'll want to track throughout the process will include the name of the programs that you're applying to, the city and the state where the program resides, the emphasis or specialty practice area that's focused on in the program. If you're applying to neuro programs, you want to make note as to whether or not the neuro program is participating in the APPIC match or not. You also certainly want to note whether or not the program is abiding by the APPIC guidelines. And then keep really clear notes for yourself on how you see the strengths and the weaknesses of each program that you're applying to. Other details you'll want to track would be things like the stipend and the benefits package at the program. Also, the types of letters that are required for the application and who they should be from. So some programs will require that you have a letter from your internship training director saying that you're on track for successful completion of the internship. And they see that as a different type of letter compared to a traditional reference letter. So that kind of information will be important to keep track of. Certainly, you'll want to note if the program is an APPIC member program or not. You'll want to note if the program is accredited or not. It might be important for you to track how much research time is allowed or required. You would like, I think, to keep track of the name of the program director or the training director. It's important to note how to best communicate with the program, by email, by phone, and the contact information to do so. You want to track confirmation that your letters have been received and confirmation that your application is complete. And again, if they're using the APPIC, you'll be able to do that within the APPA, but some programs will not be using the APPA, so you'll need to track it either way. You want to make note of whether or not you're invited for interview and the dates of the interview. Also, how long offers can be held. So some programs, because of HR regulations, for example, they might be following the APPIC guidelines, but they are only allowed to extend offers or have offers be held for just a few number of hours. So for example, 4 hours or 2 hours instead of the recommended 24. So that will be an important detail for you to know. And most importantly, once you've done all of your background review, completed your interview, and have a strong sense of the program, you want to track your rank of the program. So would you want to go there? Where does it fall on your personal rank list? When it comes to preparing your application materials, it's important to start early and allow yourself plenty of time. Your application materials will be the first impression that the program has of you, so you want them to be impeccable. A few of my suggestions may sound basic or silly, and they're still important. The first is follow the instructions provided by the program to a T. The second is strive to make sure that your materials are error-free. Have your friends and colleagues review your materials. Make sure to use spell check and grammar check. It sounds silly, but those errors will really be glaring and they represent you. And so you don't want that on your final version of your application materials. And this sounds silly as well, but address your correspondence to the correct program and training director. You don't want to address your materials to a training director in Nebraska when you're actually sending them to a program in North Carolina. And this is really important. Any case material that's required by the program as part of their application should be completely de-identified. This is important to triple check. It will not make a good impression if you breach patient confidentiality on your application materials. Instead, what you want to be doing is using the application as an opportunity to showcase your very best work and to strike a balance between being both personable, so somebody who would be enjoyable to know, and professional, someone who would be enjoyable to work with. Fit is really important, so you want to be sure to illustrate why your goals are a strong fit for the program's offerings. Many applicants wonder how best to handle the actual application process for postdoctoral programs. Here are a number of recommendations to set you up for success. First, continue to educate yourself about the process and also the programs you plan to apply for. So watching these videos, for example, taking advantage of other educational resources to learn about the postdoctoral selection process, such as webinars. Learn about the geographic trends that might impact you. For example, the research-oriented programs in the Northeast United States are especially challenged in terms of making early offers. This kind of information is important for you to be aware of. Certainly educate yourself about the specific programs that you would like to apply to. Inquire whether those programs are adhering to the APPIC postdoctoral guidelines or not. Please note that multiple non-APPIC member postdoctoral training sites have stated their intention to follow the guidelines, so don't assume just because they are not an APPIC member program that they won't be following the guidelines. You should also ask if there are any aspects of the guidelines that programs will not be following, including but not limited to the amount of time positions can be held once offers are extended. Make sure you research the timelines for applications, interviews, and offers at each program that you apply to, as these can vary widely across different programs. A common example of this is when people are applying to two different types of programs. So for example, primarily research-focused programs as well as primarily clinically focused programs. In these cases, it's important to know the deadlines of all your sites and to be ready to talk openly with the sites about the fact that you are applying for multiple programs with varied deadlines. They will probably appreciate knowing this about you, especially if they see you as a strong applicant. So for example, if you're applying to research programs with earlier deadlines and clinical programs with later deadlines, if you share that information and the clinical programs see you as strong and they would like to consider you, they will probably take that into consideration and maybe speed up their timeline so that they would be able to know if you are their first choice or not by the time that those research programs are making similar decisions. So being open is okay and helpful. Another suggestion that we have to set you up for success is to consult. Seek guidance from an advisor, supervisor, mentor, and/or your internship training director. This is especially important when it comes to managing offers or multiple offers. Certainly, you can also consult with APPIC. We've provided contact information for myself, as well as another board member, Dr. Wayne Siegel, on this slide. Feel free to reach out to us because we know it's challenging to manage this, and we want to be here to support you. A third recommendation that we have is to be prepared. Really have your rank ordering of programs completed much in advance of the uniform notification date. This way, if you receive an early offer from a program, you will know how you want to proceed. If it's your first choice, you would just accept it. But if it's not, that's when you may want to reach out about a reciprocal offer and/or seek consultation and advice from others about what to do. Preparing for postdoctoral interviews can be nerve-wracking, so we have a few tips that will help set you up for success. Although much of this you will be familiar with now that you've completed the internship interview process. In terms of recommendations related to travel and in-person interviews, you should know it is so reasonable to request a Skype or a phone interview in lieu of an in-person interview. That is why we've included it in our postdoctoral selection guidelines as a recommendation or a guideline. It is also reasonable to request at least 2 weeks' notice for scheduling an in-person interview that requires travel on your part. Many applicants feel shy or nervous about communicating directly with postdoctoral programs they have applied for, but there's no need to feel this way. When it comes to preparing for the interview itself, it's important for you to prepare your questions specific to the site. You are trying to determine fit just as much as the program is. In other words, you are shopping too, and it's important that the interview is an opportunity for you to better understand if this is the right place for you to do your postdoctoral training. It's not just the site or the program interviewing you for fit. Another thing you should do is read the program materials. Many sites find it off-putting when applicants ask questions that are clearly and explicitly addressed in the website and the other program materials or public materials that the staff work hard on and update annually. On the other hand, if you find that the program materials have not been updated, of course it's reasonable to ask about any changes since their materials are out of date. And once you get there, you should be ready to answer the typical interview questions that you probably fielded on your internship interviews. These are things such as your goals for postdoctoral training, how you see yourself in terms of fit with the site and the program, perhaps how you've handled a difficult ethical dilemma, maybe a case example, something that went well and something that went poorly. They may ask you to share your thoughts about a case vignette that they provide, and you might want to be prepared to discuss your research goals. This goes without saying, and I'll say it anyway, it's important to wear professional attire that is appropriate for the setting and the context where you are interviewing. You want to make sure to use your best social skills and interpersonal skills. Take advantage of this opportunity to show that you're personable and professional and someone that would be enjoyable to have on a team and be part of a program. Many applicants feel shy or nervous about communicating directly with postdoctoral programs they have applied for, but there's no need to feel this way. So don't be shy in communicating with the program about their selection process. It's okay to ask how they are handling selection this year, because again, at the postdoctoral level, this varies widely, and it just makes sense to ask. Ask if they're following the APPIC guidelines and/or any specific aspects of the guidelines. Inquire how to request a reciprocal offer should an opportunity for such a request arise, and ask about that in advance. As you prepare for the UND or Uniform Notification Day, make sure that you have communicated to your programs how to contact you on February 27th, and make sure you are available to take calls and respond to email that day. Also, make sure you know in advance how best to contact the programs that day. Is it best to contact them by phone? Is it best to contact them by email? What is that contact information? It's probably in your best interest to schedule nothing else that day, so you have the full day set aside to handle offers. Also, you should ask in advance how long programs will allow you to hold an offer, so you are prepared with that information going into the UND. After participating in the internship match, it can feel uncomfortable to discuss offers directly with postdoctoral programs. For this and many other reasons, postdoctoral applicants often have questions about what to do if they receive early offers and how to handle reciprocal offer requests. The good news is that APPIC has selection guidelines for applicants too. When it comes to early offers, something is considered an early offer if you receive it prior to February 27, 2017 at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you receive an early offer from a postdoctoral training program that is not your first choice, you may contact your top-ranked program and ask them for a reciprocal offer. Your top-ranked program, in receiving that request from you, may ask for verification of your early offer. If your top-ranked program extends a reciprocal offer to you, it is expected that you will promptly accept it. If the program is not able to extend a reciprocal offer to you, it is reasonable and acceptable for you to ask if the program is able or willing to disclose any information about where you may fall on their rank list. Some programs may be willing to do this, and if you know that you fall somewhere toward the top of their list or the bottom of their list, that can help you decide what you should do with the offer that you have in hand, that early offer. Finally, it's very important that you do not request a reciprocal offer if you are not prepared to accept that offer once it is extended. Similar to early offers and reciprocal offers, many applicants have a great number of questions about how to handle offers received on the Uniform Notification Day, or UND. APPIC has guidelines for Uniform Notification Day as well. First, it's important to be aware that February 27th, 2017 is Uniform Notification Day. On UND, once an offer is made to you, you have three choices, or you can do one of three things. The first is accept the offer immediately. That would be a win-win. The second is decline the offer outright. The third is ask to hold the offer. If you decide to hold the offer, then that position is frozen and should not be offered to any other candidates during that time that you are holding it. When it comes to holding offers, this can feel tricky. Namely, while the APPIC guidelines suggest that you be allowed up to 24 hours to hold the offer, each site has its own allowances for how long a position may actually be held. So you must ask how long you can hold the offer once you've asked to hold an offer. Once you are holding an offer, you can hold no other offers at the same time. After receiving and holding an offer, each time you are offered a higher ranked position on your personal list, it is expected that you accept or hold it and then immediately release the offer that you were previously holding and contact the training program to let them know that you're doing that. As soon as you either accept or hold an offer, it's imperative that you contact all of the remaining programs that are lower on your preference list that you will no longer be considering and inform them that you would like to no longer be considered or you are withdrawing your application from their site. It is critical that all applicants keep all programs on their preference list informed if they are accepting or holding offers. Doing this will prevent log jams or holdups on the UND, February 27th, 2017. Etiquette and ethics are important. Once you've secured your postdoctoral training position, take a moment and congratulate yourself. This is something to be celebrated. Most people are very excited and feel wonderful about this. Sometimes people may experience second thoughts, though, about their position, or they may have regrets about their decision. If this happens to you, remember that professional ethics do apply here. While this is not a binding match, once you've given your word and accepted a position, it's important to avoid withdrawing from that accepted offer. The one caveat here would be extenuating and unforeseen circumstances, such as a serious illness or life event. The profession of psychology is a small world, and breaking your word after accepting an offer could adversely impact your reputation and your career later down the line in unforeseen ways. The APPIC board and APPIC postdoctoral work group thank you for taking the time to go through this information with me today. We hope that you found the information helpful and informative, but most importantly, we hope that you feel more confident, excited, and prepared to pursue the postdoctoral application process. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me or my colleagues on the board or the work group.